for my segment, I'm going to focus on Xiaomi. So China's Xiaomi invests 2 billion in auto chip company Black Sesame. I'm pretty sure it's nothing to do with the name, okay? It's not Xiaomi, Black Sesame, and then Green Bean, none of those things. But this is a company that is still relatively startup-y, right? They have just gone through a Series C round of investment. So everything is very private. There's not a lot of information out there, but they are focusing on essentially the automobile, the smart future data, all that jazz of mobile chips, right? So I don't know how to put it better, but generally that's the idea, right? So they're going to AI-powered automobile vehicles, and Xiaomi wants to be in the space aligned with the Chinese government and their whole combat against Intel, against all the American companies. And yeah, this is what China is doing, and the power of China when it says that, yeah, this is what we want to do. You see all these of its companies align their strategy and invest into all these companies. So that is very interesting observation. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, so Black Sesame is a Chinese automotive semiconductor company. So effectively, they make chips for cars. Would you say that?
Yeah.
Well, well, right now there is a chip shortage, right? So, I mean,
I would say they're not there yet. I would say they're still in the proof of product, proof of concept kind of situation.
okay.
Okay, not that it's like totally empty, but there's no numbers or like how much are we producing, how much are we acquiring. So I think in Series C, a lot of deep tech companies somewhere around Series C is when they go into the big production, right? So trying to scale up their production line and make it a viable model, right? So Series A, Series B will be a lot of investment refining the tech. So at this point in time, I would still think that they're relatively young. Yeah, but yeah, you definitely are on point. There's a big chip lag.
There is a big chip lag, and Xiaomi has the scale to probably scale this Black Sesame company all the way through, and the funding with it, right? If it's not a 100% acquisition, it's probably a massive investment. And I think it's a good area to go into, given how many people are moving towards these automotive and smart cars, if you will, if you want to call it that. China is another big one, and I think they have also aligned on that. We've got other companies doing it, so I think it's great that Xiaomi wants to be at the forefront of technology, as we've seen with all their OEM products, and from phones to vacuum cleaners to robo vacuums to
your table,
TVs to literally my table. Yes.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So I've got a standing.
You have a smart table. Oh, okay.
No, I've got a standing table that you can, sort of push up and push down, and it cost me $200, so I don't need to pay $1,000 for OmniDesk, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah,
why did I not get that?
No, not sponsored by Xiaomi, but happy to be sponsored by Xiaomi. Just saying.
So I think they're putting their hands into these things, and I think it's a good area, specifically in this sort of automotive semiconductor industry. I think it's a good next step for them. CS.
Yeah. I was just looking at this, the article, and it seems like essentially it's investing in Black Sesame at a $2 billion valuation, and it's a few $100 million, right? So I would say maybe probably 20% or so of the company, given typical valuation structures. I actually, for a company that big, I feel like investing in a company that's only $2 billion isn't that big, right? I think it's for Xiaomi, it's like really, hey, let's just throw some money, like not throw some money, but but it's not going to make or break their company or anything, right? It's probably one of the many things that they're exploring. So I mean that's what I think about it right now. I'll definitely need to learn a bit more about Black Sesame to kind of really understand what exactly is this supposed to be about.
Yeah, you should learn about red bean and black bean and green bean also. Yeah. I think that they're building they're going down that path, But I think you got that right. For a lot of these big tech companies, after they have the whole flywheel and the big giant cash cow. They want to reinvest into other spaces or invest into verticals that will be relevant to them. So I think Xiaomi is not yet in the brain space of Chinese capital markets, right? So a lot of most of the investments in China come from Tencent, come from Alibaba. JD is doing a little bit of that. But yeah, it's actually very hard to compete with deals, in the capital space, in the whole startup-y, kind of growth trajectory, especially in China, because essentially, if you are invested in Tencent, you have a true train into the whole ecosystem, right? Same with Alibaba. So companies like Xiaomi, company like Huawei, company like JD, they are struggling to even get a lot of investments going. But after a few rounds of successful investments, you will see them structure to Xiaomi Capital, or some sort of thing, and that will be a whole investment arm of their own. But I would say that don't be too hyped up about it. And I brought it up because I specifically want to let everybody know that a lot of companies say they want to go into microchip. A lot of companies say they want to go into semiconductors. And look at how many companies have successfully done it in the recent years, right? AMD, Intel, Nvidia. But Intel is the old guy, right? So AMD and Nvidia are probably the only ones. And of course, recently, Apple, right? Apple M1 chip. Everyone else has just kind of come and gone, and they have not really done it, right? So it's Black Sesame wouldn't be the first one, and I brought it up because I don't want everybody to be overhyped about it. But I also want to take this opportunity to take a look at the reality that when the Chinese government say that, oh, okay, we're gonna do this, all the companies will go along with it, right? And definitely, like what Rakesh has pointed out, there is a chip shortage. So for whatever reason, whether it's a supply chain or what have you, it's always good to see some of this more investment into this hardware development, especially in China alone. So yeah, great stuff.